And we are live. Not really. I like saying that, though. I say it every week. I'm going to continue to say that every week, even when we're not live.
Okay.
Let's just jump right into the NFL. That's beautiful, as always. Cleveland versus Tennessee. So let me just read you Baker Mayfield's stat line. Baker Mayfield went 25 for 33, 334 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. All touchdowns are in the first half, of course. But with a lot to prove, with a lot on the line, Baker Mayfield stepped up for the Cleveland Browns. And I think that he's going to keep rolling. I love me some Baker Mayfield. So I'm glad that he showed up. I'm glad they got the W. Tennessee got too far behind, so Derrick Henry was really a non-factor for most of the game. The only reason the score was close is because Tennessee scored back-to-back garbage time TDs when Cleveland already had the game sealed. So that was utter domination by Cleveland. Las Vegas versus New York Jets. So the New York Jets lost in like the most New York Jets way to lose a football game ever. You're winning the whole time, and then you call a blitz. You call a blitz on the last play of the game. They have to throw a Hail Mary. You blitz 8 guys. Cover 0 defense. You leave everybody on man-to-man coverage. Henry Ruggs literally just ran the fastest 40. Not really, but Henry Ruggs is one of the fastest guys in the league. Man-to-man coverage on a Hail Mary is a terrible call. Greg Williams was fired the day after, as if the defense for the Jets has really been the problem. I guess they're going to start winning games now. Yeah, that's what I thought. Jacksonville versus Minnesota. This game actually went into OT. Minnesota squeaked one out. They keep finding ways to win with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is not a great quarterback by any sense of like the word great, but he's good enough to keep winning games.
That boy is good.
Mike Glennon got the start over Minshew. He went 28 for 42 for 280 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. He played like garbage. Minshew would have played better. I don't know why. I think Doug Marrone doesn't want to coach football anymore. Like I think he just doesn't want to. I think he's trying to get fired. The Jacksonville Jaguars will fire him eventually. Hopefully after the season. Cincinnati versus Miami. So Tua was making plays the entire game, the entire second half. But then that first half, he was atrocious. But after the halftime, he came through, made a bunch of plays. The Dolphins defense literally made one mistake all game. They allowed the 40-yard touchdown off just a missed assignment. And other than that, they shut them down completely. I'm really happy with the way the defense played. There was a lot of ejections. Jakeem Grant got hit pretty hard twice on a punt return. Both times it was flagged. Brian Flores, after the second time, actually stormed the field with all of his players because he wanted smoke, which that means, in case you don't know, that just means that he wants like a problem. Like, he wants like a fight or something. I just have to explain my language. So, yeah, a lot of ejections. Xavier Howard got ejected for throwing a punch at a wide receiver. That wide receiver also got ejected for throwing a punch at Xavier Howard. Yeah, Dolphins win 19-7. It wasn't really that exciting, but we got the dub. Indianapolis versus Houston. The Colts didn't impress me. Houston's missing their number 1 receiver. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have a running game. They barely have a defense. He only won by 6 points. Deshaun tried so hard. And for him to try so hard, he really was just that still of T.Y. Hilton going over to like console Deshaun Watson as he's got his head in the towel and he's just head down, slump shoulders. Like that's heartbreaking because you never want to see a guy with Deshaun Watson's like talent and ability to be crying on the sideline because his team's losing a bunch of games. You never want to see that. Detroit versus Chicago. The Lions actually made a comeback. Chicago was winning pretty convincingly the entire game, and then the Lions did something. Mitch played good enough to win the game. It's just the play calls were just not good. Matt Nagy needs to take the L on this one. By the way, I've got Baltimore versus Dallas up, so we're not going to be able to talk about that today, but it's on, so that's cool. Matt Nagy needs to take the L on that one. It's his fault that they lost that game. New Orleans versus Atlanta. So the Saints are undefeated with Taysom Hill, which doesn't surprise me at all because Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill. So I feel like he's going crazy in the coach's room, drawing up plays for this guy. The Falcons really come back to true form because, they scored a lot of points and killed Las Vegas last week. So for them to only come back and score 16 points this week makes me really happy. The Saints are getting healthier every single week, except for Drew Brees. And they're getting better every single week, except for Drew Brees. But, yeah, I think they're going to make – they actually might win a playoff game. I called early in the season that they weren't going to win a playoff game. They might actually win a playoff game. I don't think I did a top 10 this week. I did not. So we'll do that on the spot. Whatever. The Giants versus Seattle. The Giants actually won this game. Like they beat Seattle fair and square. Nothing. No controversy. Joe Judge proved himself as a great head coach in the National Football League. With that performance, Russ kind of knocks himself out of the MVP talk. It's crazy how through 10 weeks a guy can shine and really look like he's going to be the front runner for MVP, and then after a couple bad weeks, you're really out of it. Mahomes and Rodgers are going bananas right now. And I get it. They're on better teams, better situations. But, yeah, this doesn't look like Russ is going to get his MVP this year, which sucks. The Rams versus the Cardinals. The Rams' offense is starting to click a little bit better every time I watch them. Every time they just get a little bit better every single week. They're figuring that run game out. The Rams' defense is always amazing. They shine versus Hopkins and Murray. The Cardinals are probably not going to make the playoffs. They're 6-6. I don't see them making enough moves late this season to win games. New England versus the Chargers. New England beat the Chargers 45-0. So what that proved to me is that New England's defense is still one of the best in the league, that Belichick is still the greatest of all time, and that Cam Newton doesn't have to play good in order for the Patriots to look good. So that's crazy. 45-0. That's wild.
That boy is good.
No, he's not. Philly versus Green Bay. Wentz was benched. So usually during the holidays, we have Elf on a shelf. This year, we're going to have Wentz on a bench. It's going to be great. Jalen Hurts is now the starter. He has been declared the starter by Doug Peterson for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. This is really exciting. Hurts went 5 for 12, 109 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, coming in the middle of the third quarter. The pick was in the fourth quarter when he was just trying to make plays to get the team in scoring position. Watching that game, the Philly-Green Bay game, watching that game really made me feel bad for Carson Wentz because Jalen Hurts threw a couple passes and they were dropped, and I was like, wow. Everybody just rags on the receivers for Philly, but it's really bad. Like, the situation is really bad out there. They don't have guys who can catch. It's pretty important. Pretty important thing to know. Denver versus Kansas City. So this one was actually, pretty wild. It was close all game. Kelsey and Mahomes sealed the W, of course. Kelsey had himself a game. Kelsey went off for 8. He went 8 receptions on 13 targets for 136 yards and the game-winning touchdown. Denver's defense played as well as they possibly could versus Kansas City. Well as they possibly could. Drew Lock tried his best on offense, but the better team won. Even though it was ugly, the better team won. Washington versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is no longer undefeated. The O has to go, and it was gone. Washington keeps winning. Chase Young keeps dominating. This kid's only 22, 23 years old, and he's already scaring O-lines. He's already torturing O-lines. Just to feel good, Alex Smith has been playing his butt off since he got the starting job. I mean, after coming back from almost losing your leg, he's playing exceptionally well for everybody. For all of the standards or all of the opinions about him as he came back, that he wasn't going to be the same guy, wasn't going to be able to be the same player, and he's pretty much the same player. He's never great, but he was always really good.
You're going to learn today.
I love Alex Smith. Buffalo versus San Francisco. Josh Allen shines. Had the 2 fumbles, but he's a running quarterback. He's going to get hit. He's a quarterback. He's going to fumble. It happens. But he didn't have any interceptions, had 4 touchdowns. Cole Beasley had himself a game, had 9 receptions on 11 targets, 130 yards, and a touchdown. Other than the quarterback situation, the San Francisco 49ers are showing every single week, win or lose, that they're getting healthier and they're getting better. So other than Jimmy G, because he's going to be out for a little bit longer, they're starting to get their roster back, and they're starting to look more like the team that they should look like. So that's always good for San Francisco fans. Dallas versus Baltimore is going on right now, so we can't report on that. Upcoming NFL Week 14. So we got New England versus the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams over the Patriots because I trust Jared Goff more than I trust Cam Newton to make plays late in the game. Minnesota versus Tampa Bay. I'm going to go Minnesota. This is a shocker. Just went into OT with Jacksonville. Tampa Bay's coming off a bye, I think. They actually are coming off a bye. So Tampa Bay's coming off a bye. All signs indicate that Tampa Bay is going to dominate. But I don't know, man. Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook are just rolling right now. And Minnesota is just, they're hot. So I'm going to bet on the hot hand. I'm taking Minnesota over Tampa Bay. Arizona versus New York. Kind of the same situation. Arizona should win this game. This is the Giants, but of course, Arizona versus New York Giants. Arizona should win this game. But I'm going to go New York because New York has a fire under them right now, and they are rolling. And I'm playing the hot hand this week. Kansas City versus Miami. As much as it breaks my heart, Miami's not good enough to beat Kansas City. That's just what it is. Tennessee versus Jacksonville. I'm going to take Tennessee because Jacksonville's literally trying to lose football games. Dallas versus Cincinnati. I'm picking Dallas just because Cincinnati's not a real football team. Lost those bad boys. So I'm taking Dallas because Cincinnati's not a good football team. Houston versus Chicago. I'm hot. I don't have a shirt under this because I'm a dummy. It is what it is. Houston versus Chicago. I'm going to go Houston because Deshaun cried, and Houston, I feel like, needs to win more games, man. That man is miserable over there, and they're going to fight their butts off for him, unlike Chicago will do for Mitch Trubisky, which is why I'm picking Houston. Denver versus Carolina. Although Denver just put up a great showing versus Kansas City, I'm still going to choose Carolina. I think they're the better football team, and that's just what it is. The New York Jets versus the Seattle Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson's going to bounce back versus the worst team in the league. I think he's going to have a great game. I think DK is going to have a great game. Seattle's going to have a fantastic performance against the worst team in the league. And I got Seattle. Indianapolis versus Las Vegas. This is interesting. AFC matchup here. Both teams know they're not going to win the division because Indianapolis is looking up at Tennessee and Las Vegas is looking up at Kansas City. I feel like Indianapolis' situation is better. They still have a chance to win a division. It's not like shut down completely. For Las Vegas, it's completely shut down. But I'm going to go Las Vegas over Indianapolis in a must-win situation here for Derek Carr. I trust Derek Carr more than I trust Phillip Rivers, and I trust John Gruden more than I trust. I apologize. I can't even remember the Colts head coach name, but I trust John Gruden more than that guy. Washington versus San Francisco. San Francisco's O-line is good, not great. Chase Young's going to eat. The quarterback in San Francisco, that whole situation is trash. I'm going to go Washington over San Francisco. New Orleans versus Philadelphia. This isn't even a question. I'm going to go New Orleans because they're like literally the better team everywhere. But Jalen Hurts is going to have his first start. So there might be a lot of surprises this game. You never know. You never know until you know. Atlanta versus the Chargers. I'm going to go the Chargers. They just got embarrassed by New England. So I think that they're going to come back stronger than ever. And, yeah.
Okay.
24-10, Baltimore over Dallas right now. 13 left in the fourth. Green Bay versus Detroit. Detroit. Green Bay's Green Bay. I'm going Green Bay. Pittsburgh versus the Bills. I think Pittsburgh's actually going to suffer back-to-back losses. Although I don't think that they're a bad team at all. I do think they have some stuff to work on, but every team does. So I just think it's not that they're are going to start losing a bunch of games in a row. Like, I don't think they're just going to spiral out of control, but they just so happen to lose a game and then be matched up with a team that I think is significantly better in the Buffalo Bills. Because I trust the Bills' offense and coaching staff more than I trust the Steelers.
That's according to the Bible.
So both defenses are really good. I'm going to take the better offense. Baltimore versus Cleveland. So this is a tough one. Lamar and the Ravens are actually not playing terrible right now. But I'm going to just stick to what I wrote down. Baker's going to keep rolling. Lamar's going to struggle. The Browns are going to go 10-6. The Ravens are going to drop to 10-3. The Ravens are going to drop to 6-6. I got Baltimore losing to Cleveland 17-31 for a total of 48 points. Let's get to the UFC. We got a recap. Hermansson versus Vettori. So this was an absolute cracker. I love saying that for 185-pound fights because Robert Whittaker's from Australia, used to be the champ, real fun guy. I don't want to do an Australian accent on camera and then get roasted in the comments. No. But yeah, he says cracker. Like, instead of if it's a fight's like really good, he goes, "This is a cracker," and I'm just like, it's so funny. So yeah, that fight was awesome. Vettori was dominant, to be honest. They were slugging a lot. They were just going back and forth. But for the most part, you could tell Vettori was winning the exchanges. Vettori was definitely controlling the octagon, keeping his distance a little bit better, landing the harder shots. Hermansson showed so much heart. Really good guy on the ground, took a lot of damage on the feet. And then another thing about Vettori that I know we're talking about Hermansson's heart, but another thing about Vettori that impressed me was that he knew that everybody thought that on the ground Vettori was going to be at a severe disadvantage, but it turned out to be that whatever Vettori's been working on the mats, because this dude he knew everything Hermansson was going to throw at him before he even threw it at him. He's going to be fine. He's going to do just fine. His UFC career is going to be great. Hermansson is also going to be just fine. They're both going to be great UFC fighters for the rest of their careers. Ovin St. Preux versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill actually won by KO, like I called he would, because OSP is on the slide and Jamal Hill's on the up and up. So, shout out Jamal Hill. A couple fighters that I reported on. So Luis Smolka got a W by TKO. Matt Wyman lost via 22-second KO slam. So Wyman went in for a takedown, was wrapped around the guy. The guy stood up. Wyman held on to him. So the other guy kind of just put his forearm on his face, and then threw them both onto the ground. It was weird. It was a weird slam, but got the KO. Pretty impressive. I would look it up. Gian Villante lost by unanimous decision. Actually, pretty one-sided decision. I was pretty disappointed in his performance. So we're going to move on from that. Upcoming UFC. We got UFC 256 on the horizons. Davison Figueiredo is making a quick turnaround because I think he only fought 3 or 4 weeks ago. Let's go back. I got time. Yeah, I think he fought 3 weeks ago. Wow, if only I color coded my notes. I actually do color code my notes, and I still can't find it, so that's pretty pathetic. But whatever, it's okay. I'm just gonna whatever. Bruh. Anyway, but yeah, Davison Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno are both making a quick comeback. The weight cuts are definitely gonna bother both guys. I think it's gonna bother Davison a little bit more. I'm still gonna go Figgy by KO. Davison Figueiredo by knockout. This fight will be quick. I don't expect it to go past 2 rounds, but this fight will be so much fun to watch. I think it's definitely worth the $65. And if you don't think that fight's going to be worth the $65, how about this next one? Tony Ferguson, El Cucuy versus Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is on an absolute tear right now. He holds the record for most submissions in UFC history, and now he's knocking people out with ease. Tony Ferguson they literally call him the boogeyman because he is the boogeyman. So, I mean, that was awful. Lamar could have made such a good play, but he just didn't make the throw. Yeah, I got Tony by unanimous decision. Charles will look good. It's only a 3-round fight, so they're going to leave it all out there slugging from bell to bell. This will be fight of the night, no doubt in my mind. But I have Tony, unanimous decision. He's going to have the experience advantage. He's going to have the advantage on the feet. Every fight starts on the feet. I don't think that the advantage that Charles has on the floor will help him win the fight. Renato Moicano versus Rafael Fiziev. I'm gonna go. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know who Rafael is, to be completely honest. I briefly looked over him while I was writing my notes, but I have no idea who this guy is. I know who Renato Moicano is. I know who I'm getting with him. He's gonna stand up. He's gonna bang. He can't. If the fight goes to the ground, he has ground abilities, but I don't know, man. Something in my gut is just telling me that this Rafael dude, who's not Spanish at all, I think he's Russian. This Rafael dude is really going to win this fight. I don't know why. But I did write Moicano by TKO. So there you go. There's my opinion on that fight. Kevin Holland versus Ronaldo Souza. Kevin Holland has been on an absolute rise, like meteoric rise in 2020. He's really taken this terrible 2020 that everybody's had, and he's flipped it on its head, and his 2020 has been amazing for him. And I think he's going to cap it off by getting the biggest win of his career. I think he's going to knock out Jacare Souza because Jacare is on the decline. He has been for a long time. Missed a bunch of fights due to COVID. I just don't think he has what it takes anymore to be competing with the top guys at 185 or at 205 pounds. And I think soon enough he's going to call it a career. But this is going to be definitely a step in that direction. I got Holland winning by KO. Junior Dos Santos versus Cyril Gain. So I got Cyril by KO. JDS is also another one of those guys on the decline, and he's been getting knocked out a bunch of times. He's fighting all of these young up-and-comers and losing bad. So I don't think this is going to change with this fight. I think he's going to lose again, and I think he's one of those guys that also needs to start thinking about hanging up the gloves. On the undercard, we got a couple good fights, and then Chase Hooper is actually Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series alum, and he is on the early prelims, so it's on ESPN Plus exclusively. There's 3 fights before the actual. It's weird to explain how the UFC does it. They do 3 early fights, and then they do the prelims, which is like every other fight event in the world, and then they do the regular card. So they got the early prelims is what they're called, but Chase Hooper's definitely a fun guy to watch. He's the first fight on the card. If you're gonna give any fight on the undercard or the prelims or the early prelims a chance, I think it should be that one or the main event to the prelims, which I'll get to in a minute. So after that we got Mackenzie Dern versus Verna Jandiroba. So Mackenzie Dern was on a tear, just knocking girls out left and right, and then she had a fight where she tore her ACL versus Roxanne Modafferi, and that was her first professional loss. She has dreams of being the youngest champ in UFC history. I think she has a little bit less than 2 years to do it. It really set her back, but she's back, fully recovered, and I think she's going to take this fight. I don't know who this other girl is, but other than her last performance where she tore her, shredded her knee apart, Mackenzie Dern has been great. So, yeah. Hold on. Oh, I just folded. Mackenzie Dern is not the person that I think she is. Bruh is right. Mackenzie Dern is actually a jiu-jitsu ace. Yeah, Mackenzie Dern is actually a jiu-jitsu ace. And the person I'm thinking about is Macy Barber. Barber actually tore her ACL in a fight versus Roxanne Modafferi, but she's not fighting it. I thought it was too soon for her to come back, so that's why I was pretty shocked. But now that it's all coming back to me, I feel good about this. She did not tear her ACL. Mackenzie Dern is perfectly fine. She gave birth, and now she's back, and that's awesome. But I think she's still going to win the fight. She's going to get a sub. That was pretty bad. That was bad reporting. I'm not going to lie to you. I apologize. But shit happens. And then this fight is the last fight on the prelims. It's Cub Swanson versus Daniel Pineda. This one's going to be a banger. Cub Swanson, I'm sweating. Cub Swanson always comes out to bang. He is awesome. fan favorite. Daniel Pineda will be a fan favorite one day. He's one of those guys that's just really good everywhere. He can do it all. Hits really hard. Has awesome submissions. Daniel Pineda is awesome. I'm going to go Daniel by UD. Cub coming back from a knee surgery is awesome. But I just think he's been on a decline for a while. I think he's on a 4-fight. Or I think he was on a 5-fight losing streak before he won one or something like that. He's just not good in his past 6. So I'm going to go Daniel Pineda. And that about wraps it up. Thank you to the Raw DJs. Thank you to Brian Flores, as always. Love everybody. And we out. Woo!
Good. They know why I'm here.